welcome to Jessfor30. I'm Ron Jess, and I've got a special guest here today in our home, and he's been awesome. He's was a student of my wife's, and Eric Walters. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
great to be here.
Good to see you.
Great seeing you too.
So were you born, Eric?
I was born in Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Mm-hmm. Groundhog Day, February 2nd, 1982.
Oh wow. So, and your parents, how old are they?
They both just turned 69 years old.
Uh-huh. And they were from where?
Both from, my dad grew up in Inkster. Mm-hmm. Went to Inkster Cherry Hill High School, which is no longer there, but had a nice little sports career there. And my mom grew up in Detroit, pretty close to UAD Mercy.
And your dad was a baseball player. Your mom went to Jesu.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did.
And you went to St. Joe's and Howell?
I did, and we grew up, born in Dearborn Heights, and then in 1984 is when my parents and I was 2.5 years old. We moved to Howell, Michigan.
And you had you grew up with your two brothers, Ryan and Brett, and you had acreage in Brighton. That had to be nice.
It was wonderful. 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
Even came up with our little golf course.
Oh yeah.
The Walters Willows.
We've all played it.
It's been around for 30 years now.
Yeah. What, 5-10 acres or?
About just short of 3 acres.
Okay. And you guys hunt back there?
Yes.
And do you still hunt or?
You know what? Not really. But my dad and my brother Ryan were always very big hunters.
That was never one of my things. I like to fish, and what are some of the best memories then growing up?
Family.
Oh yeah.
I just 2 brothers. Ryan's 2 years younger than me, and Brett is 5 years younger than me. Mm-hmm. And just to this day, best friends. I mean, they just growing up with them was outstanding. Very supportive, loving, and to have the parents we had, Mark and Diane. I always looked up to them.
Yeah, and you guys, a big part of the family were the Murrays. Tom is one of your better friends?
Absolutely. One of my best friends in the world, Tom.
Still today?
Still today. Yeah. His younger brother, Tony, and I went to Ferris State University together.
Right.
So that was great. And then Julie, I always consider her basically my sister.
Oh, yeah, they're great people, the Murrays. And St. Joe's, how about good memories from St. Joe's?
Absolutely wonderful. Kindergarten through 8th grade at St. Joe's. And your beautiful wife, Mrs. Jess, awesome teacher, right? From 6th grade to 8th grade. Always a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. But when it was time to do business and time to study, you better study with Mrs. Jess. You know what I mean? There's time for fun and there's time for work.
She knows social studies.
Yes, she does.
You pull out a date from whenever. We'd go to Gettysburg with her. I'd go to Vicksburg with her, Annapolis. She just knew every date of every battle. Well, her dad was a colonel in the Army, so.
Well, she's a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And good friends with her mom.
Oh, yeah, they're real close. And Mrs. Murray.
And Mrs. Murray.
Now, March Madness was a big deal. You really liked March Madness.
Absolutely love it. When I lived in Southern California for 10 years, all 10 years, a bunch of buddies and I would make the drive to Las Vegas and spend 4 days, Thursday through Sunday. Back when you had to go to Las Vegas to actually place a bet.
Yeah.
That's changed.
Right.
But we used to go all 10 years we were out there and had just a wonderful time at the sports book, watching the games, placing a couple bets, and enjoying the scenes.
Well, you were a good basketball player, too. At Howell High School, even when you were there, I remember you had the ice cream truck we were talking about earlier. And our 3 kids would be out here, and 15 kids in the neighborhood. Right behind the house here, they'd be in the pool. And Michelle would make them lemonade, and she'd make for the whole neighborhood. She'd make lemonade and peanut butter and jelly. But you came over with your ice cream truck, and that was pretty cool.
It was my sophomore summer. After my sophomore year of college, my freshman year and junior year, I had plastics. I was plastics engineering technology.
Yeah.
Was my major at Ferris State University. And my freshman and junior years, I had to have an internship. So I worked at different manufacturers. But my sophomore year was the one year that I didn't need that. I could have fun. And my brother Ryan and I found in the paper an ice cream truck driver job in the Livingston County Press. So we met with the guy, the owner, and sure enough, we started driving the darn ice cream truck every single day of the week.
Nice.
And
nice. You made it out here one day.
Made it out here, and we'd pick the truck up at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was always like, it seemed like that was a little early to pick the truck up. People aren't eating ice cream at 10. So I would drive to your house right here.
Yeah.
And I was big into running.
Yeah.
Right? So I was running a lot of mileage.
Yeah.
So I'd park the truck, run a few miles around the block here. You were nice enough to let me jump in the pool. And by the time I got back to the truck at, say, 11:30 to take it out, there was a line of 15 kids. And I started out the day with great business.
That's how this neighborhood was that way. It was really cool.
It was.
Because when we moved back from Ohio, I wanted to get about 5 or 10 acres like your mom and dad, the 5 acres. And Michelle was insistent that the kids all had other kids to play with. And I agreed, I said, well, we could have the woods behind us. And so that was nice. So you'd come over. And you were having some inner ear things going on at the time.
You know what? It actually was right after college. It was in 2008. So 26 years old.
Okay.
And I was living in Southern California and was traveling with my colleague. His name's Evan, up in Seattle, Washington. And I remember waking up one morning and he's in the hotel, and I go, man, Evan, I'm going to travel with you, but I feel just off.
Yeah.
I feel like I have the flu or something. And drank a bunch of water. And still this day, really have never shaken it. I went to, in 2008, 60 different doctors to look at it. And
what is it?
It's an inner ear. Vestibular neuritis, they call it.
Okay.
So, the human body, though, is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, over time, you try to stay positive, and it'll figure it out. So I'm always a little bit, if you and I are walking side by side, I might bump into you. You're wondering, Eric, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah.
But you just learn to deal with it.
Yeah, it's like it. That's the way it is. So going back a little ways, I have to. In fact, this one Michelle put on because a day before it was Grandpa O'Connor.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh.
Interesting guy. Your mom's dad.
Yes.
We all knew him. From we were with the Brighton group most of the time coming to Howell, and he was always on the sidelines in basketball and baseball and. Quite a character.
Oh, guy was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, just loved him to death. He was just such a great grandfather. He always had a lot of cash on him.
Did he?
In his wallet.
Yeah.
So, you'd have a pretty good game or something, you know what I mean? He'd, hey, congratulations, Eric. Congratulations, Tom. Good game.
Yeah.
Give us a 20 that we could have the rest of the week. Just absolutely incredible.
Well, you were at one point. This is pretty amazing, I think. It's at the time it's a huge honor, and we've seen people come through here, and the people we've come through who have gotten the honor in Livingston County was Drew Henson, Julie Murray. I'm not sure if Finnerty got it even.
I'm not sure.
I don't think he did. I think Christner got it.
Okay.
But they were great athletes. But you got it. That was a huge deal.
It was a lot of fun.
Because you have Howell, Heartland, Brighton, South Lyon? Pinckney, maybe not South Lyon. Pinckney, but a lot of schools, and you were the athlete of the year for the whole county.
It was an absolute honor. 1999, 2000 season. So I was a 2000 graduate. And that was a heck of an honor. And I always really respected Drew Henson. I mean, I went to Howell High School. The Brighton Bulldogs are
He's older than you?
2 years older.
Yeah,
2 years older.
yeah.
And I just, just a class act, 4.0 student.
Yeah,
valedictorian, heading to Michigan.
Yeah.
National Player of the Year. So I'm 15 years old. I'm a sophomore. Okay, and I make varsity basketball. And our second game of the year, he's averaging, he averages 30 points a game.
As much as he wants.
As much as he wants.
Yeah.
So it's our second game of the year, Howell versus Brighton, at Howell. I mean, the crowd's just absolutely packed, okay? And at the time, I'm the sixth man, because only my second game was my sophomore year. So the game starts, 5-6 minutes into it. Our coach, Bill Simmons, says, hey, Eric, you're in the game.
I remember.
So I check in the game. I can't even drive yet, 15 years old. And Drew Henson, at the time I was number 10, my sophomore year. And he goes, I got 10.
Oh. Now this, everybody's got to know here, just let's make it clear. if you don't know Drew Henson, maybe the best athlete in the United States of America. He hit more home runs one year, maybe senior year, than anyone in the country. Michigan wanted him. He played football there. Steinbrenner wanted the New York Yankees wanted him, and they took him from Michigan. But I want to go back to Henson just for a minute, because this is kind of funny, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in one of these podcasts before. So I'm writing for the Brighton Argus, and I would take my son Jeremy, he was maybe 10, 11 at the time. Every time I'd write a story, I'd take him to the football games, basketball. It could be golf, it could be anything. So we're out at Howell. Brighton is playing Howell, the girls.
Okay.
Carol Henson's the varsity coach. Did I tell you this story? So it's middle of January or whatever, and Brighton had just beat Howell, and we're walking out. I think Carol Henson's daughter was on the team. She was a pretty good athlete.
Brittany,
okay.
went to Ferris State with her.
Oh, okay. So I go up and say, hi, Coach, can we talk for a minute? And she said, sure. So we start walking. She says, let's go out of here, away from the gym, and let's get near the bus. So I hold the door open for her, and a skunk had just sprayed, and she looked at me and she said, whoa, that's some nice cologne you're wearing, Ron. So I thought that was pretty funny. Pretty sharp, I mean, yeah. So Ferris, why'd you choose Ferris?
Choose Ferris when I was a junior in high school. My grandparents, my mom's parents met at Ferris State.
Oh.
And they got married. My parents met at Ferris State.
Oh.
So there's a little connection there. And my grandpa was big into the athletic department there, and really just big into Ferris State as a university.
Which grandpa?
This is Grandpa Walters.
Oh, okay,
This is
your
my dad's dad.
Okay.
So when I was a junior in high school, I took a tour. And I watched The Graduate, right? And The Graduate, it ends by saying, plastics, young man, plastics.
Right, Dustin Hoffman. Right.
So I'm taking the tour as a junior, and it's a beautiful facility. I mean, Ferris State's plastics program is arguably the best in the country.
Okay.
UMass Lowell, Penn State Erie, Pittsburgh State also very good, but Ferris is right there. So
good choice.
I just said, you know what, darn it. I'm not maybe the engineer type, but I remembered The Graduate, and my parents, like I said, my parents met there, my grandparents met there, and they just said, hey, I think it's a pretty good career if you go into this plastics engineering. Sure enough, I did.
And you ended up with Chase Plastics, who you're with today, right up the ladder.
Yes.
Milwaukee, California, Chicago, home base Detroit. You started in Milwaukee. Well, kind of cool. We went to Cleveland, and I kind of look at Cleveland, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh. This Midwest stuff is really cool. Because I didn't go to college. I nickel-plated handguns and dental lab for a while. And 2 years at a junior college.
Okay.
But I didn't have, that was the education. Once I got in with Traris, I went to Cleveland, and you have your family with you. And I called that like my college. I had to OJT, inside sales, outside sales, regional, national sales manager. You just put a foot in front of the other, and you want to be successful, right?
Absolutely right. 2004, graduated from Ferris State, and with 3 months left in my senior year, I got hired from Chase Plastics.
Yeah.
And I went into that major, really wanted to be in sales. My dad was in sales, sold North Taki dinnerware.
Right, when it was big, everybody had it.
And everyone got married and bought. That's the first thing they bought.
We have some. Nobody wants it.
There you go. Times have changed.
Kids, I know. The kids aren't. That's not their thing anymore.
Times have changed. But I always really wanted to go into sales. I really loved watching him as a young kid.
Yeah, and he was good.
Yeah. So got hired by Chase Plastics, went through like a 6-month training program. We're headquartered out of Clarkston, Michigan. Material distributor. So you don't have any machines. We just warehouse material from our supplier and service the heck out of the customer.
Okay.
So when I started in 2004, we were only probably $40 million company. And after training, they said, hey, we want you to go to Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 22 years old. Loved it in Milwaukee. I was there about 1 year.
Okay.
And as a company, we had never been west of Nebraska. So I'll never forget, it was a Friday, and I just got done working out late at night, And the owners at the time were at San Antonio at their board of directors meeting.
Okay.
And you could tell they've had a couple, right?
Yeah.
They call me and they say, Eric, what do you think about Southern California? Mm-hmm. I said, my goodness, yes.
Now I'm going.
They said, well, do you want to talk to anyone about it and then get back to us Monday? I said, sure, I'll talk to people, but you know what, darn it, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget talking to my dad that night. My dad and I talked on the phone for 4 hours, probably till 4 in the morning about the opportunity. And sure enough, early 2006, moved out to beautiful Orange County, California for Chase. And it was an amazing experience where we really didn't have any customers out there. So nothing but cold calling, hustling in the 10 Western states. And was out there for 10 years doing that. That's
amazing. You know, this is the 7th one of these we've done. And I absolutely love it. And I always have 20 questions. The first one I did was with Jeff Minnick, a close friend. As you know, everybody, and he loves you. So I had 20-some questions for him, and I got this 5-minute thing, and I said, oh, shit, I'm out of questions. And we have 5 minutes, which, you know, him and I could do okay. Now, I've got 20 questions for Eric Walters. I've done 5. So we got to have a little bit of time here, just a little extra. I'm going to get to some of the things that were huge in Eric's life. What year did you get cancer?
2020.
2020. Oh, is that recent?
Yeah.
So a little, just quick on that. I mean, no, I mean it's huge, but
yeah. And actually, I'm wrong on that. It was actually. I'm sorry, 2021. The story goes in gosh, around December of 2020 is when I just noticed, and I mean I'll just be blunt. I mean it had some blood in my stool.
Yeah.
And you know, people have had that before, right? Mm-hmm. But it lasted a month or so.
Yeah.
So that was December 2020. In April of 2021, after being checked out, they said, hey, we can't get, you know, it's during COVID. Mm-hmm. We can't get you in for a colonoscopy. You're only 39 years old until April 11th, 2021. Mm. And sure enough, my brother's nice enough. It's a Saturday morning, drives me in for my 7 o'clock colonoscopy. And I come to after all said and done, and my brother's sitting there, the nurse is sitting there, the doctor's sitting there.
Yeah.
Knowing that's not good news. And the surgeon looked at me and said, you got a 2.5-inch tumor, and it's malignant. And we're going to test it. And if they say it's not malignant, this is what I do for a living, it is.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, that's a shocker at 39 years old in April 2021, being told, and it ended up being stage 3, so it got in a little bit of the lymph nodes. Thank goodness it stayed in the region, though, and it was rectal, I guess officially rectal cancer.
And you had the radiation and the chemo, and you had the bag, right? I mean, you had everything that went with it and came through it. And
14 months.
Yeah.
14-month process with chemotherapy and then radiation with the chemotherapy and with the ileostomy bag for about 4 months. And then they thankfully were able to reverse that.
Yeah, we were at a party with your mom and dad's, and we talked about this a month and a half ago, right? It was a big party for your mom and dad. I was talking to someone, and the biggest thing that I had come away with it was that you had been going to work the whole time and stayed with work, but it was all attitude. And people were saying just a few weeks ago that the people at work were saying, what a great attitude through all of it. I mean, you're going to...
I'll tell you the help, the support was amazing, but I went to Beaumont Royal Oak, and the doctors and the nurses were unbelievable. And I'm just very blessed, so lucky that those 14 months really worked out exactly like we had hoped.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And but the family, the friends, heck, the Jess family. I mean, the love and the cards and the emails and the text messages and the phone calls were really helped.
Yeah.
Really helped, but allowed me to stay positive and darn it, keep working. Keep your mind off of that. You know what I mean? We've got plastic to sell.
Yeah.
Plastic resin.
That's awesome. And your brother's working with you now?
He is. Yeah. My brother Ryan, who's 2 years younger, has been with Chase Plastics for 6 years now. I'm going on my 20th year, and he's been with us for 6. I can't believe he lives in Minneapolis and is doing a magnificent job for Chase.
Is he good? That's great. Well, you see these books back here?
I do.
I know you've been to 14 stadiums at least for all the Big Ten stadiums.
All the
now.
Big Ten stadiums.
You got Fenway Park over there. You've been there,
Yes,
and we've
yes.
been there. I got that book there, and
love
there's
it.
Bo Schembechler.
The legend.
Yeah, we're saying let's go blue around here, and last night we're going let's go Honolulu blue. We got Hutchinson, we got a Michigan guy there, but that's fun, isn't it, Eric?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah, I know you love sports.
Sports is good.
Sports
teaches us a lot.
Yeah. We wanted to do these about sports, but we also wanted to mix in and we had a dentist, a really cool dentist that Michelle and I went to high school with. He's done 18,000 implants. He's trained 800 dentists. He does all the Catholic Central priests. He does all the Red Wing and the alumni a couple weeks ago. And that's what's fun about doing these. So anyway, Eric, these are the Jess pickles. You got the GD garlic dill. So it's just
I've never had one.
Really?
Never.
Wow. We hear that once in a while. They're maybe you could get that seal off there. There you go.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh, this is great.
You have to rate them. I guess that's the latest thing. You have to rate them, Eric, somewhere between 1 and 10. And
That's delicious.
you like that?
Absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
I think I gotta get a.
Well, these are yours. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's your. We don't pay much on the show here.
I'm gonna say 9.8.
9.8. You hear
Out of
that,
10.
Julia?
9.8 out of 10. That's delicious.
Thanks
Thank
a
you
lot.
very much for the time.
I love you, buddy.
I love you
Let
too.
me-